want you all to think about what's the worst thing someone can tell you. What's that one insult that someone can hurt you the most with? My sister asked me this a couple of years ago, and without hesitating, I said, "Selfish. That's the worst insult." Just imagine your best friend or your closest family member describing you to a stranger and saying, "Well, to be honest, she's the most selfish person I have ever met." Ouch. Overhearing that conversation would be devastating. But why is it an insult? Well, society has created a negative connotation of the word, and we use it to describe someone who lacks empathy, only cares about themselves, and pushes people down. So people never saw me this way. I decided to become a people pleaser. Whenever I was socializing, I just agree, and when they asked for my opinion, I just repeat what the person beside me was saying. And in my head, it seemed like the perfect solution. I was causing no conflicts, and nobody would ever think I was selfish. But putting others on top of myself is what destroyed my uniqueness. Because after all, the word selfish begins with self. And self is to distinguish from others. And if you don't have that straight, you will reach the point I reached. The point in which you have no opinions, preferences, or voice that's not the repetition of somebody else's. And the worst part about reaching this point is that I didn't even realize how low I was, because it felt comfortable. And that's the issue about most problems. You don't know you have them until they're too far gone. And the only way to see them is from the outside of your comfort zone. I left mine when I went to study abroad. Being in such an unknown place gave me the power to form my identity. The thing about being outside of your comfort zone is that emotions like excitement and fascination overwhelm your mind, and you're bound to get too carried away. That happened to me. For once, I was not calculating my every move to avoid selfishness. I became selfish. And I loved it. Whenever I was having a conversation, I'd pitch in with my opinion. And people actually appreciated this, because you would rather have someone who puts something new in the table than someone who just sits back and nods. I no longer needed to sacrifice my needs to please everyone else. People respected me because they knew they couldn't take my presence for granted. It made me feel like I was worth it. And people knew it. I had discovered the most powerful tool someone can use: selfishness. But back then, I did not yet know how to use it. The year came to an end, and this meant I had to go back to my comfort zone. Back there, everything felt cozy and familiar and nice, but I unconsciously fell back into the mold of a people pleaser. I was once again irrelevant, because I was making no difference with my presence. Whenever I was socializing, I just listened to conversations, and this one particularly stuck with me. A friend asked us what we thought about another girl, and someone said that she was beige. Beige. Out of all the colors you can think of, the most neutral, the most unnoticeable. If it's there, it's fine. And if it's not, it doesn't matter. I knew they thought this girl was beige because they didn't know her well enough. I related to that. I realized I was beige. All my color was stuck inside my head because I was too afraid I would cause conflict if I showed it. And right there and then, I knew I had two options. One, forget about the growth I had outside of my comfort zone and continue to be beige. Or two, embrace it and make people understand I had boundaries and priorities I did not show before. And yes, looking back, it's obvious the second path is the correct one. But that meant I was going to be selfish. And it is hard to come to terms with it when society has taught us to avoid it at all costs. So to do so, you first gotta widen your comfort zone. Let me explain. In the inside of your comfort zone, you feel safe. And this limits you from going outside and take opportunities that would lead you to learn more about the world in general and yourself. In here, you don't even know the powerful tool of selfishness exists. And then you got the other extreme, the outside of your comfort zone, where emotions overpower your intelligence, and your decision-making depend on those emotions rather than on your mind. You got your selfishness tool, but you're just waving it around without consciousness. And yes, it's fun, but it is not maintainable. So you gotta be in the perfect in-between, and that's what I call the widened comfort zone. Here, you know you have a safe place with people you love to rely on, but this doesn't limit you from going outside and taking all the opportunities the world has to offer. But you take them smartly because those boundaries don't let emotions overwhelm your intelligence. So once you're here in this widened comfort zone, you can think about selfishness as self-interested. When thinking about it as self-interested, it's a lot easier to see the positive connotation of it. So, once you understand it, you can embrace it, and this will be you. Pretty cool, right? And not unnoticeable at all. Well, through my definition of selfishness, not only you are benefited, but everyone around you is benefited as well. Because for starters, it creates meaningful conversations in which both sides of the argument can question their ideals and learn something new. And it motivates others to set their priorities straight as well because of how good you're doing. Picture this. You're in a table sitting with your workmates and you're all brainstorming on this new project you just started to elaborate on. Who would you rather having sitting in that table? A brainstormer or someone who says nothing? I'm gonna go ahead and guess you chose a brainstormer. Well, that person would have not said their idea if they were too busy thinking, if others may disagree, if it was gonna cause conflict. They ignored those ideas, said it loud and proud, and put up with the controversy it may cause. And after all, everyone was benefited by that selfish act. An even more obvious example, in an airplane, the first thing they tell you when you get in is that in case of emergency, you gotta put your mask on first and then help others. That is positive selfishness, to help yourself first, to be authentic, and then others can be benefited by your presence. Additionally, a study conducted by Doctor in Psychology Rodney Bassett and Doctor in Clinical Psychology Jennifer Opey compared two groups of people: selfish people and those with pathological altruism, aka people pleasers. And the results are behind me. Pink for the selfish, blue for the people pleasers. For starters, you can see the social vitality point is much higher for those who are selfish. That means they're happier. And on the contrary of what you may think, selfish people are more loving and less arrogant than people pleasers. Obviously, society wants to be surrounded by happiness and love rather than arrogance. So yeah, there you go. Science proving social definitions wrong. It's your turn to embrace selfishness. And let me tell you, you'll enjoy your life 10 times more. Because instead of this bringing you rejection, it's gonna be the thing that people appreciate the most of you. Open yourself for continuous growth by being in a widened comfort zone. And whenever someone tells you that the best way to grow is outside of it, rephrase that into widening it. From now on, live remembering to use your most powerful tool, selfishness. And use it smartly to fight those thoughts that make you want to conform and become a people pleaser, but not to damage the people around you. So, if you ever overhear the conversation of, well, to be honest, she's the most selfish person I have ever met. Take the compliment, not the insult. Thank you.